Welcome back, Bowden the Great here with another and a long time coming update on Lens Island. Flow Studio has been hard at work on the new update and has been giving us small lens-sized doses of changes to come in the next massive update. But before we get into everything, as always, please do not forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of this Lens Island content, because we've got a lot of new updates hopefully coming soon. Also, I wanted to point out that a lot of stuff that I will be showing you in this video can and may likely change by the time the new update comes out. Everything you will see is not a finished product and will be a bit more polished, so if anything looks unpolished, understand that the devs are still hard at work and getting everything ready. Starting off with probably the biggest change coming to Lens Island is that it's going to be procedurally generated. Specifically, in Julian's words, put simply, we have made a tool that randomly distributes handcrafted islands and cells of a map and organizes them around the world in unique ways. The map will even be 50 times the size of the previous map. Personally, I love procedurally generated because it makes each playthrough unique and offers the player a chance to explore places they may have never explored if it wasn't procedurally generated. Each island will have its own unique biome as well. If you haven't played Lens Island, you'll notice that for the most part it's just basically one massive biome with different variations mixed throughout. With the new update, there will be the following biomes: wood, tropical, birch, mangroves, dark woods, and Mediterranean. Now, which biome are you most excited for? Personally, I think I'm most excited about building in the mangroves biome, but I cannot wait to be able to grow my own olive trees in the Mediterranean. I mean, look at this beautiful shot of a nice breezy afternoon in the Mediterranean. That's the other great thing, is that you can build your home in any of the islands you see fit in any of the biomes. Now, you may be asking yourself, what the hell? The map is 50 times larger than the old map. How the hell am I supposed to remember where everything is? Well, it looks like we may be getting our own map complete with little location icons that'll let us play cartographer as we explore the new world. If you didn't see Flow Studio's dev diary with the fishing update, you should check it out, because in this video, Julian talks about boats, which is how our Len will travel between islands. I'll link it below, but regardless, I highly recommend following the Flow Studio channel as well, because all the official updates will come from there. There appears to even be a sailboat added, which I assume will be a little bit more well suited for sailing the seas compared to that of the raft. And I can't wait to barrel my way through floating barrels. Get it? Alrighty, anyways, before I move on to other updates, I wanted to talk about probably my favorite thing that's being added: different weather effects. There's nothing that I love more than being able to build a nice home and sitting inside just watching a storm pass through, which is what our Len will now be able to experience. So we've talked about landscape changes in the map, but what about some combat related updates? Flow Studio teased us with a new weapon set called Hard Steel, which adds an entirely new tier of weapons and tools to the game, from pickaxe to spear. Now, I wonder where this will fit in the current tiers of weapons. Will it be an end-all best tier, or will it fit more in the middle between some of the other tiers? Time will tell. Regardless, I'm excited to test these out, and maybe even test them out on some new enemies. The devs even showed off a new enemy that I'll call Spiky Rolly Boy, as the name implies he's covered in spikes and rolls around like a crazed Sonic. We can see here that he's got two main attacks, a rolling attack and a stone throwing attack that he kicks up when he goes into super rolling mode. I wonder if he's the only new enemy, or if there are other more enemy types that we'll see. Now, this one isn't super polished at this point, but Martin also showcased a new attack, which is a homing attack. We can see that it tracks the player's movements, so you better get good at dodging. Obviously, the pink and purple light are placeholders and we'll get more detail in the finished product, but regardless, homing attacks are not going to be easy to deal with. On the topic of new attacks, and I hope you brought your fire extinguisher for this one, but there are entirely new designs for traps throughout the game. From crazy fire designs to pop-up arrow turrets that'll melt your health. Now, hopefully though, they aren't this hard, or we're going to be in trouble. A lot of trouble. Now, the rest of what I'm going to show and talk about are more general changes and just fun stuff altogether that don't relate to map or combat. Now, starting off is more dynamic animations with interacting with things like the dungeon door that now slams open, which just looks so sick. And when you activate a keystone, it sends a shockwave out that damages weeds around it. The next thing we can see is lots of new farming and food options. I mentioned at the start of the video, but I'm most excited to build a massive olive farm. And yes, before you even ask, I will be throwing dirty martini parties with my homegrown olives, and of course you're all invited. We can see here that cooking is going to be getting a facelift as well. Cooking in a campfire, you'll clearly have a more limited option, but in a fireplace, it looks like you'll be able to combine fish with either other fish to cook two at the same time, or combine one fish with, say, flour to make battered fish. It looks like, though, that we may be able to experiment and combine other fish and foods like pumpkin to make even more fun meals. Here we can see the devs showing off some area-based effects, specifically in this example fog, which gives it a very spooky feel. Next, we can see a time-lapse of how they created the seed packets, which I assume will now be how we have to plant crops. They also show us some of the new resources washed up on the beach that we'll be able to gather. Now, this is probably my favorite thing thus far, but Cheddar shows us a rough idea on how the town leveling will work. To break it down, it looks like the town notice board is level 0. He then goes and upgrades some of the cubes to spheres. What the cubes and spheres will be in game, I have no idea. But after he upgrades a few, he's able to upgrade the town notice board, which then adds a decorative or maybe functional well in the dead center. So I'm assuming that the town will start off somewhat bare bones, and it'll be our job to upgrade certain things that will add more decorations. And judging from this image as well, we'll be able to add and remove certain NPCs to the town as it grows as well. I just love the idea of being able to work with the townspeople and upgrading everything as I progress through the game. And we get a small glimpse into how the new power system will work in game. It appears that the power can come from a boiler or steamer, not sure exactly what it is yet, which can then be used to power things like the water pump, which will then pump water to our crops. That's all I've got for you now, folks. I'm beyond excited for the direction that Lens Island is going, and you know the devs are working tirelessly to make all these things and lots more happen. I've had the personal pleasure to speak with and work with Julian, and hearing the plans he has for the game is truly inspiring. With all that said, I'll have more updates for you as we get closer to the next massive update that will change Lens Island entirely, so get excited. And I'll see you next time, YouTube. Peace out.